Why does he have a watch on? Looks like my watch.
It does.
It does.
That's crazy.
What is the story behind those modern-looking wristwatches on the arms of ancient deities? What is the mysterious bag almost all Sumerian gods seem to carry? And what's inside it? When we look at the stone-carved portrayals of the Anunnaki, our eyes are instantly drawn to these enigmatic accessories. But it's not just the Anunnaki. The graphical portrayal of many of the ancient divinities around the world show these gods depicted in similar poses, wearing clothing that appears to be the same, or at least extremely alike. They all carry a small purse-like bag. Other objects can also be seen, like mysterious bracelets, which resemble modern-day wristwatches. Are they mere artistic decorations, or could they be symbolic keys, unlocking a labyrinth of lost knowledge and forgotten truths? We'll look for the answers in the new episode of Secret Origins. Welcome! The Sumerians, as well as many other ancient cultures like the Maya, Aztecs, and Egyptians, depicted their divine beings in strikingly similar ways. But why do we find the same symbols shared by so many different cultures around the world, when in our history books, we're taught that those cultures had no contact with one another, especially across oceans? They were disconnected from different time periods in history, and it's all just random, right? What we're told in school is mainly that most of the ancient civilizations just happened to appear randomly, as if out of nowhere. A group of leaders and hunters chose a place, built a city, and then that city fell apart someday. We're told this all happened in the last 6,000 years. For example, ancient Egypt or the Sumerians.
It's that perfect, but it's only perfect 12,500 years ago. So you have the ground saying 12,500 years ago, and you have the shaft saying 4,500 years ago.
We hear stories of tons of workers forced to move huge blocks to build gigantic structures like pyramids. But these stories don't really make sense anymore, and it becomes more and more accepted that these civilizations were probably helped by more advanced extraterrestrial beings that humans described as gods. Is it possible that all the ancient cultures worldwide worshipped the same alien gods? If they did, how could this be? We are told that these cultures had no interaction with one another. This leaves us with few options. Either ideas spread through interactions between these peoples, or the gods appeared to these civilizations simultaneously and gave them the same knowledge. Could the similarity of the engravings, myths, and legends provide an answer? Maybe it has been given to us in the form of another ancient tale, the story of Pandora and her box.
When the Titan Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to humans, Zeus wasn't happy about it. So he gave Pandora a pithos, a jar, that contained all of the evils of the world.
Pandora's box, an artifact of Greek mythology, symbolizes forbidden knowledge and the dangers of temptation. But could this box, bag, or container hold the source of God's power? Over the years, there have been reports of mysterious metal and stone boxes associated with UFO sightings and advanced engineering. Is it possible that these are related to the bags carried by the Anunnaki, which might contain the knowledge of God? Alternatively, could these bags signify a shared culture among ancient civilizations? We have seen the popular images of the Anunnaki and ancient gods from antiquity. The deities are all pictured wearing what seems to be the same jewelry and carrying identical objects. These mysterious bags and cases have had many asking, what's inside? Could it be a source of God's power? According to Assyrian tradition, the Apkallu, or eagle-headed gods, are portrayed holding a bag in one hand and a pine cone in the other. The handbag symbol is one of the most puzzling and debated in the study of ancient civilizations. This motif is pervasive, appearing alongside megalithic structures and lost civilization imagery across the globe. It can be seen in Pillar 43 at Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, in ancient Sumerian carvings featuring the Anunnaki, and even in Olmecart from La Venta, Mexico, where it's held by a figure associated with Quetzalcoatl or Kukulkan, both serpent-headed deities. So, what does this handbag actually represent? To decipher its meaning, let's consider its frequent companion. The stone images show the Anunnaki holding an object that looks like a pine cone, often held up in a prominent position, most commonly in the right hand. The term God's right hand is commonly used as a metaphor for the omnipotence of God, and the pine cone is a symbol, which is commonly interpreted as a symbol of transfer of knowledge. But this isn't about just any knowledge. It's profound, transformative wisdom that covers everything from the nature of reality to the essence of consciousness. What did the Anunnaki look like? While there are numerous depictions of the Anunnaki, most of them show them in a similar way, with wings and each having distinctive symbols. For example, the Anunnaki god Ninurta is portrayed with an eagle head. But here's where it gets interesting. These gods often hold a pine cone. They're always facing it forward, in front of them. Now, why does this matter? If you go to the Vatican, you'll find the world's biggest pine cone sculpture right in the middle of the square. Even the Pope's staff has a pine cone on it. So, it seems like these symbols aren't random. They mean something significant. Whether it's the eagle's heads or the pine cones, each symbol is chosen for a reason. And that's what makes studying these ancient pictures so interesting.
There exists a mysterious and wonderful connection between human DNA, pine cones, pine trees, the pineal gland, and light.
The pine cone, a universal symbol found across various cultures, serves as a powerful emblem of wisdom, knowledge, and the cycle of life. From ancient Egypt to Hinduism, from modern religious practices to esoteric traditions, this seed carrier holds profound significance. If we look at the ancient Egyptian mythology, the god Osiris, who governs the afterlife, is often depicted with a staff topped with a pine cone, underscoring its spiritual relevance. Similarly, in Hinduism, Lord Shiva, the deity of transformation and destruction, has associations with the pine cone. The symbolic importance of the pine cone persists even in contemporary religious settings. Notably, the Papal Ferula, the Pope's staff, features a decorative pine cone. Even more striking is the large bronze pine cone sculpture located in Vatican Square, which serves as a testament to its enduring spiritual and historical importance. One of the most captivating elements of the pine cone is its intricate hexagonal design, a feature that links it to conifer trees, among the most ancient species of plants on our planet. If you closely examine a pine cone, you'll find that its spines, also known as scales, are arranged in a complex spiral pattern that seems to flow effortlessly from its base to its tip. Remarkably, this natural formation aligns with the golden ratio, a mathematical constant approximately equal to 1.618 that has intrigued mathematicians and naturalists for centuries. This ratio is omnipresent in nature, appearing in phenomena as varied as the arrangement of sunflower seeds and the spiral arms of galaxies. The golden ratio is a cornerstone of what is known as sacred geometry, a field of study that explores geometric shapes and their role in the construction and understanding of the universe. According to proponents of sacred geometry, these patterns and ratios are more than mere coincidences. They are the building blocks or blueprints of reality itself. In the case of the pine cone, its design seems to echo this cosmic patterning, offering a glimpse into the inherent wisdom and balance that many believe govern the cosmos.
Geometry and music are related too. And maybe music is just the geometry that we experience with our ears. And maybe geometry is just the music that we experience with our eyes.
Transitioning from esoteric symbolism to biological function, the pineal gland, an enigmatic pea-sized organ nestled deep within the recesses of the human brain, exhibits a form strikingly reminiscent of a pine cone. Situated almost at the geometric center of the brain, this gland plays a crucial role in regulating circadian rhythms by controlling sleep-wake cycles through the secretion of the hormone melatonin. However, its significance transcends the purely physiological. For centuries, various spiritual traditions around the world have venerated the pineal gland as the anatomical location of the third eye. This is thought to be a metaphysical portal, so to speak, offering access to elevated states of awareness or consciousness. It's as if this tiny gland serves as a biological antenna, finely tuned to receive signals from dimensions beyond our ordinary perception. Beyond its spiritual dimensions, the pine cone serves as a remarkable biological metaphor for the eternal cycle of life and death. The cone carries seeds that will eventually give rise to new trees, thereby continuing the endless loop of birth, decay, and rebirth. It encapsulates the concept of cyclical existence, which is a core principle in many religious and philosophical systems. In modern research, Dr. Rick Strassman, a pioneering scientist in the field of neurobiology, has proposed an intriguing theory about this mysterious gland. He suggests that the pineal gland may synthesize and release DMT, also known as dimethyltryptamine, a potent psychedelic substance during transformative life events such as birth, extreme stress, or near-death experiences.
There's the possibility we have a DMT neurotransmitter system.
Users of DMT often report otherworldly visions and encounters with mystical entities, which intriguingly frequently feature serpents, a symbol itself steeped in spiritual and mythological import. Now, going back to the Anunnaki, far from being a mere artistic choice or decorative flourish, this recurring motif of the pine cone may hold profound layers of meaning that intersect with spirituality, philosophy, and even neuroscience. The Anunnaki holding pine cones could signify their possession of sacred universal knowledge, wisdom that transcends time and space. The pine cone, a symbol deeply embedded in ancient cultures as a repository of wisdom, might thus serve as a metaphoric key to unlocking realms of higher understanding and divine truths. It's conceivable that these deities were not just guardians of cosmic knowledge, but also gatekeepers to advanced states of consciousness. Building upon this line of thought, the pine cone may also hint at the activation of the pineal gland, or the third eye, in various spiritual traditions. By holding or pointing to the pine cone, the Anunnaki might be symbolically emphasizing the unlocking of this gland's latent potential, guiding human beings towards spiritual enlightenment and elevated awareness. In this context, the handbag symbol can be understood as the toolset required to manifest this wisdom into a tangible civilization. If we assume that the pine cone is the theory, then the handbag is the applied science. It represents the practical know-how, the architectural blueprints, the ethical frameworks, and the governance models needed to build and sustain a civilization. To put it another way, while the pine cone imparts the theoretical understanding of universal laws, like the balance of nature and cosmic energy, the handbag provides the practical means to apply this knowledge on a societal level. It's the difference between knowing how the universe works and being able to construct a civilization that mirrors this cosmic harmony. So, it appears that the presence of both the pine cone and handbag symbols in ancient depictions isn't a mere coincidence. Rather, they serve as twin pillars of civilization building. While the pine cone symbolizes the knowledge and wisdom required to comprehend the mysteries of the universe, the handbag represents the tools and frameworks essential for transforming that wisdom into a structured society. The two are not always passed along together. Sometimes they are held separately, and other times they are clutched close, signifying that these figures are both custodians of knowledge and masterminds of societal architecture. But what about the watch-like gadget that appears on the wrists of Sumerian deities? It may have been an early form of a bracelet, a pendulum, or a similar device. It was often seen on their wrists and was another symbol of power. And what about the Anunnaki themselves? We can regard them as the visionaries who jump-started the advanced civilizations. They passed on not only the keys to higher understanding through the pine cone, but also the practical necessities for civilization construction, as symbolized by the handbag. They were the cosmic engineers of their time, constructing out DNA, laying out cities, channeling rivers for agriculture, and mapping celestial bodies to predict cyclical, catastrophic events. Unfortunately, we have very little remains left from their time. The scarce historical records we have at our disposal, such as the weathered erosion marks surrounding the enigmatic Sphinx, or the valuable data extracted from Greenland ice core samples, point to a series of earth-shaking cataclysms that transpired between approximately 12,800 and 10,100 years ago. These seismic events decimated landscapes and possibly led to the downfall of advanced civilizations that predate our recorded history. Curiously, what these ancient societies have primarily left behind are their awe-inspiring megalithic structures, from the towering pyramids of Giza to the intricate carvings of Göbekli Tepe. These stone monuments seem to defy the capabilities of what we consider primitive tools and methods. In a few instances, they also left behind cuneiform tablets with mysterious scripts. If we take a look at Pillar 43 at Göbekli Tepe in Turkey's Anatolia region, this megalithic structure, carved from a single stone and weighing over 20 tons, features various enigmatic designs, including the prominent handbag symbol at its top. Göbekli Tepe holds a unique place in archaeological circles, not merely for its impressive megalithic structures, which differ from those in Peru or Egypt, but for its layered clues that help unlock a complex story. Radiocarbon dating has placed organic material at the site to around 11,800 years ago, a time frame that coincides with turbulent Earth changes during the Younger Dryas period. Interestingly, the temple was initially buried underground, a choice that seems to defy the understanding that this site was the work of mere hunter-gatherers who took a brief rest from their nomadic lifestyle to build an advanced astronomical temple. Even if the initial inhabitants were the hunter-gatherers, right above the first layers, we find the sudden emergence of a complex society. Within what seems like an incredibly short period, these people transition from basic hunter-gatherer lifestyles to practicing agriculture and establishing urban centers. So, how did it happen so fast? Could it be that a more enlightened society interacted with them, giving them advanced knowledge and practices? Here's where the symbolism comes into play. Pillars at Göbekli Tepe, like the famous Pillar 43, display those widespread handbag symbols. Now, imagine you are a part of a hunter-gatherer community and a highly advanced group descends upon you, imparting wisdom about agriculture, astronomy, and consciousness. What would you do? Most probably, you would revere them, and that reverence is shown in the symbolism we see at Göbekli Tepe. But there's more to the story. Below the handbag symbols, we notice other figures, a vulture and a scorpion. The cosmic alignment here is too significant to ignore. These figures correspond strikingly with the constellations of Cygnus and Scorpius respectively, situated in similar relative positions in the night sky. The vulture, or Cygnus, is associated with Deneb, one of the brightest and most luminous stars in our galaxy. The symbolism and its celestial counterpart are more than mere coincidences. They are deliberate depictions, showing a far-reaching cosmic awareness. Interestingly, the constellation Cygnus presents itself as an astronomical cross. This celestial cross resonates symbolically with the concept of ascension, adding another layer of complexity to its significance. Now, consider its presence alongside the Scorpius constellation and the recurring handbag motifs at Göbekli Tepe. Back to the Anunnaki, there is an interesting image of 4 Anunnaki depicted around what looks like the Tree of Life. If we take a closer look, we'll see that the 2 figures closer to the center look alike, but are different from the outer figures. There are no wings, no bags, no pine cones. So, even though initially we may assume that they are all Anunnaki, that's not right. Only the 2 outer figures represent the Anunnaki, while the 2 inner figures most probably are the Earth's kings, the offspring of the sky gods. So this image, similar to the one in Göbekli Tepe, is also telling a story. We already know that the Anunnaki had bloodline king offspring, just as it is described in the Bible in the story of Nephilim. And they created humans by genetically manipulating the DNA of Homo erectus, making them look just like the Anunnaki in their own image and likeness. Ancient kings really weren't what we thought they were. They were actually like bloodline Anunnaki kings, directly from their bloodline. And they're being given the knowledge and wisdom to create civilization. And that's why they're depicted in the center, around the Tree of Life. But essentially, we can see the Anunnaki telling them the way to create those civilizations and how to govern them. They are giving them both the universal knowledge through the pine cone and also the tools to maintain these civilizations through the handbags. So, when we combine everything discussed so far, it looks like the Anunnaki are creating a specific type of kingship civilization for our societies here, in their image, in their likeness, in their mentality. But there's something more. We can assume that in the majority of the time, the Anunnaki, when they were creating these civilizations, created them to be warlike empires, which is why, throughout history, it's always been governed by war, because it's the easiest way to control civilizations and keep them in a lower state of consciousness. There's always been this battle of the Anunnaki, where they didn't want us to become greater than them, and that's what a lot of these struggles have been. In this way, the symbols, the pinecone and the handbag serve as keys that unlock an entire narrative, filling in the blanks of history's lost chapters. Each symbol is a piece of a much larger puzzle that, when assembled, could reveal the secrets behind the rise of advanced civilizations. Starting with the pinecone, which symbolizes the transfer of wisdom and knowledge, we set the first piece of the puzzle. Next comes the handbag, which has been interpreted as a container of tools or knowledge, another puzzle piece fitting into place. When you consider winged beings as representations of divine or ascended figures from other dimensions, yet another piece clicks into place. By creating these clues together, we create a narrative that can potentially explain the leap from primitive societies to advanced civilizations. Far from being isolated images, these symbols make a coherent story that offers invaluable insights into the origins and progression of ancient societies. If you like that kind of content, support us by giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Also check out our related videos on the screen right now. Keep your minds open, and until we meet again.